Welcome to Jaded and Faded Convos. I am your host, Jada Pearl, and of course, I got some shit to say. So, welcome to, of course, our next episode. We're definitely going to be getting into some really awesome information. And of course, I had told you guys that I'm going to be doing something slightly different going on to the future episodes. And the reason being is because the name Jaded and Faded, I did explain in the first episode what the intention of Jaded and Faded is and why they came to be. However, now we're going to kind of go into the faded aspect of it. So, every episode, what I'm going to be doing is featuring one company that offers some form of CBD. Definitely very low microdose, at least for me. I'm definitely a microdoser person. When it comes to your herbal, with your, how do we call it, your recreational work for that matter. Simply because in this world of dance, it is one thing in particular that we cannot avoid is pain. Hence, the episode today is called No Pain, No Gain, but I Want to Dance. So, to, of course, discuss one company in particular. I have worked with them through the business itself, as well as I've enjoyed their products for quite a number of years, actually. And I love the owner of the brand as well. It is called Herbal Smokes. So, this is here. Okay. They offer herbal cigarettes that have pretty much all of your organic ingredients in it. So there is no THC or no CBD. Everything, of course, is organic, from the lavender flowers to the red rose petals to your organic peppermint leaf, your mullein, your fenugreek, all different types of things. And they are awesome. So the intention, of course, bringing this particular topic up is because when it comes down to pain, we be trying to find ways to alleviate it when we go through our levels of pain from a perspective of whether it is just from working out, it is, of course, from working certain jobs that may require your body to be in places of physical restraints and such. And just overall, sometimes you just need a little bit of like comfort to your body within reason, of course, responsibly, all that good stuff. So that is the reason why I'm starting to bring in the faded aspect of it. Sometimes I might partake while I'm doing the podcast. We don't know. We'll see how it goes. It might be a gummy, it might be something, of course, infused, might be in a tea. We gonna see. So, but at least you know that is definitely going to be the added addition, of course, to the show. So, hope you guys enjoyed that aspect of it, as well as being able to get references of some other great companies that I very much can vouch for that are great. So that's that. When it comes to no pain, no gain. Woo! I feel like the subject is more, in some ways, almost, it's like it's taboo to some degree when you're talking about pain from dance and then just experiencing pain overall, but you're also wanting to enjoy your level of talent, or of course your apparatus that you might be using. And a lot of times it's just our bodies when it comes to doing what you love, but having those physical limitations, whether it is temporary or for some people it really can be permanent. So let's get into it. As we know, pain goes in different levels. It can be something as simple as a pole bruise or a pole kiss, as we love to, of course, say when it comes to pole. Maybe in silks, your lyra, sometimes in chair. Hell, even sometimes you can hurt yourself in floor. It just really depends on the matter. When it goes into dancing, we go in with this idea of, oh, okay, I'm going to do these tricks and I'm going to do this and it's going to be great. And naturally, for a lot of people, we'll think, oh, okay, I can just get this done, in this one take. And then we'd be sorely mistaken. So, no. Um, and we then find out, okay, what it does really require is the strength, the conditioning, the consistency, the building of oneself, along with, of course, your body in order to be able to do said moves. Naturally, you might have a little soreness, your arms might hurt, body can feel a little bit on the fatigue side. So what do we say? We say, of course, to soak, be able to rest, recovery, hydrate, very, very big deal. I got my water with me now, just to make sure I'm hydrating, even if I'm not training. Um, Making sure that it is something that you're doing on a consistent basis, right? Then shit just be happening. Shit really just be happening. You can literally go into a class and go pull a move that you've been doing for forever and can miss a step just by a smidgen, and your rotator cuff, of course, is just messed up. Your shoulder blade is just feel like it's on fire. Your wrist, something, of course, didn't happen in sprain with that, or overuse of using your wrist in a way that's not the most appropriate. And that's why, of course, anatomy, being taught anatomy, is very essential when it comes to, of course, dance, so that you're not hurting yourself in ways that are uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what level you come into understanding dance and the origin that it comes from, it is still a sport on your body. It is still calisthenics, essentially, when it comes down to your body and what you're doing with it in those moments, and to make sure that you're trying to take care of it appropriately. But again, things, of course, can occur, whether it be you. Oh Lord, let me see. What have I done that's messed up some stuff? Even before I even got into dance, I some years ago was picking up boxes because I'm a strong bitch and I'm like an ask for help and stuff. And I was at work and I was picking up these fry boxes, big ass, the heavy. If you've been in retail and fast food, and if you don't be getting nobody to help you pick up stuff, you do it yourself. You know how heavy they are. Usually about 20, 30, 40 pounds or whatever. And more than likely, I had been doing it so much and then not understanding proper form or whatever happened. I just know, all right, cool, get up and go. Try to pick up a box in the back one time while closing, and felt this sharp pain in my shoulder blade, and had to get my aunt to take me to the hospital right after that. And just this annoyance of spasm that'll take place in my right shoulder blade, more than anything. And it just became a thing where I would have those spasms from time to time, and just having to get through them, or of course take Tylenol. And then as I got older, I really understood the beauty of massages and whatnot. So that definitely took place. But that was just, again, that wasn't even, of course, a dance situation. However, when I began to do dance, and because I am, my dominant hand is right. And so therefore I'm utilizing the right hand, the right arm, the right shoulder, shoulder blade, all the right sides, period. Naturally, I'm going to sometimes have that spasm kind of show up every once in a while because of the overuse. Hence, why we always say use both sides. But even the best of us, we hard headed. But nonetheless, I know that that's what that comes with. So what do I do in the process? I make sure, of course, I am recovering as much as possible, so that I'm not overtraining myself, thus overexerting my body. Thus, my body saying, "Bitch, if you don't stop, I'm gonna make you stop," and try to avoid that as much as possible. So doing the massages, doing the chiropractic, all the things that gives me the proper way to maintain my body, so that it doesn't become a situation where it's an emergency. It's already essentially my preventative care, basically. So those things I've run into. Then you run into the ones where, because you are dancing and something happens, you taken out of commission just a little bit. Okay, I've had that happen twice while dancing. Actually, I say three times. Well, if you go back to high school, that one time I had dropped that split. But That's neither here or there. I didn't know no better back then. So in the last 5 years, I have definitely injured myself 3 times. The first time was hamstring because I naturally split to my left. Like it's like some people have, of course, their natural splits. I naturally split to my left. So people normally have like a preferred split, and you have some who split no matter what direction. So, but when I started teaching myself splits when I was about 12, I naturally would go over to my left better. Right, I always would work on it, but left just was that. It was just that bitch. So I was doing that typically, but then I was taking a chair class and ended up the routine was to do it in a right split or one particular part of the chair routine. And my ass decided to drop into the right, only to drop in it the way that I drop into my left. Like I can drop hard in my left, whereas my right, I have to kind of slowly, gradually get into it. It's not something I could just rush into. And this particular point, I did that, and my hamstring said, "Bitch, what you doing?" And I had to pretty much pause on taking classes for a little while because I should have improvised and did what my body is comfortable doing versus what the instructor was having us do in that way. And that was me having to learn my body from a perspective of, hey, if you gonna do this, you need to do it in a way that is more fitting, or hell, drop into it slowly so that you're not injuring yourself. So that was one. Number two, one of the best performances in my life. One, because it was a great opportunity to perform for a wide audience and clearly people online, and the location, of course. The event, of course, was PoleCon. That was the first time I ever got to perform there, and it was amazing. Ended up also being the performance that, bitch, you didn't hurt yourself a little bit, but the show must go on. But I didn't know it until the day after. So, in a nutshell, I never told anyone, I guess, outside of my partner, obviously. So, with the PoleCon in 2023 in Maryland for the Dangerous Curves, which was a amazing opportunity. Shout out to Colleen. It was great. I went and I did a performance that the theme was Miss Parker. And if you saw it, you know Miss Parker. So, and you know where Miss Parker come from. So I created my set off of that, and then there was a part where I ended up climbing, and the bitch climbed a little higher than what I normally climb, but for effect, of course, and it was a wonderful effect. And I knew everything that I was going to be doing from beginning to end. So that was from beginning when I walked in to the end when I ended off with my feet up and coming down. I knew everything I was doing. But then that drop split came, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. The reactions and everything was good. And walked off, and everything was cool. I was proud. I was think I had been in tears later that night because me and Babe had went out to eat, and I was just happy, and it was just a wonderful time. Until the next morning, my leg felt like it could not fucking bend. I was like, oh shit, what did? It don't feel good. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe this is a little sore muscle situation. Rub it out, whatever. Woo. And then that was in June. Then about late August came, and I realized I'm still having this pain. What the fuck? Never thought that I needed to look into it and ask questions or refer to anybody and none of that shit because I had never been through it before. Because I've known any other time I've had like some type of an injury, well, you just gonna wait till that shit get better and you be okay. Until September came, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get this looked at because I'm concerned. So I went straight to a physical therapist. I didn't go to a doctor only because the doctors typically, that's not a sports medicine doctor. They're gonna tell you, hey, you probably just need to be shot up with some type of injection, and go from there type shit. And I'm just like, I ain't about to take no shots. That's just a no-no for me. At that time, I'm not that much older than what I was a few years ago, but I'm still young. So I'm just like, no, I don't want to go into that at all. So just go straight to physical therapy. Did definitely, of course, find it was a meniscus pull and just having to do the acupuncture, the cupping, and of course your general exercises and such. And so I did that for about, I think it was about 4 sessions until I was better and I was good. Like, okay, cool. I ain't got to worry. I'm fine. I'm okay. I was good. So I was fine. I was doing whatever. I had no issues. Went back into my splits. Probably not as high in the sky, but I was doing them and it was okay. So I was cool because I've been splitting shit over 20 years now. So I'm just like, I don't want nothing to have to stop that because that's what, for me, it's a signature thing that I do. You know, everybody has a signature thing that they like to do. And so for me, it's like, I don't want to cut that off. So that was that. Then the last time was in the Bahamas. I was just finna get done teaching a class. Literally, I had been teaching it throughout the entire hour and such, and everything was going well. I was fine. I felt like I was fine. All the things till I was coming down to the floor, like a floor twerk, coming down to the floor, and was coming down until I heard a pop. Heard a pop, and my ass was like, ah! And I don't know why it sounded so sexual when I was in pain. It was odd. It's just like, you don't mean, it's like that person, you don't mean to be sound sexual in some situations, but you just can't help it. That's just who you are. Apparently that's me. At least that's what people tell me. And I'm just like, why did that come off sexual? But regardless, it happened. And I was not in tears. I was more so in fear of like, what the fuck just happened? What am I doing? What's going wrong? And I had luckily my people that were with me to make sure I was okay and then supported and stuff and all that good shit. And there was that. Then got back home and went right into immediately recovery mode and went straight into physical therapy again. And this time though, it was more scary because the pool felt like it was not just in one area. It was like one on the side, and I can't bend my knee all the way back like I normally could. So I can't lay out and fold against my knees. I can't sit on it for a long period of time. Like it truly had me in tears and frustration and doubt and worry and resentment and all these different things and questioning myself like horrifically, like real shit. And it was scary. It was a scary time. And keep in mind, these are injuries that I'm having that are temporary compared to someone who may have a chronic pain. They have a condition that where their body shuts down at certain parts of the day, and so they're having to just be happy to have the energy build up to just do a task for that moment, let alone something that they've been trying to plan for like a week or so. Hence maybe not being able to plan for a performance or a showcase of some sort. You have babies right now with medical bills out the ass because of they wanting to do what they love, but they're having physical restrictions that pertains to, of course, something pertaining to their neck, something with their back, something, of course, is out of place when it comes to their alignment of their hips, something to that degree. And it puts me in that headspace of how is it that the thing that we love to do the most is also the thing that some doctors can say, hey, you might need to chill out on doing. You might need to reconsider doing something else, you know. And it brings you peace, it brings you joy, it brings you encouragement and enlightenment for that matter. But it also can come with that risk of we are doing some things that are to some people really considered dangerous, having to take the proper safety precautions, liability, having, of course, the insurance and the coverage and all the things just to be able to dance, just to be able to fly in more ways than one. And so I say all of that to say is, whew, and that thing takes me to a personal place, honestly. And it's only because of the fact that from where I'm at on how I experience pain now, it's like it puts me in that headspace of being more precautious, being more careful, making sure that rest and recovery is on point, making sure that you are getting the knowledge of what is going on with your body. And then once you do know what's going on, it's like, okay, cool. What can you, if there's an option to do about it? Is it where you have to just find your maintenance? Is it where you're having to have a doctor who really hears what it is that you're going through and doesn't dismiss your pain for something else? When in actuality, you know your body, so therefore you know that there's something more dire going on, especially because of the fact that it is dance related, or if it's not dance related, but you are a dancer and not wanting to have your limitations set in place all because your body is not where you want it to be. Having, of course, your CBD, having your THC, having your Delta 8s and 9s, having your gummies, having your teas, having your infused anythings, just to be able to feel good in those moments when it comes down to the pain that you're experiencing. Because even right now, it's now the time frame that is. It's been about 4 months, 4 or 5 months, and I am still recovering. I'm still recovering from a perspective of I'm able to teach the way that I like to, which is beautiful, but I still have to be careful just because it is one of those things where it's just a slight limitation, but it's not where it used to be. Thank goodness. Um, so having to make sure that I am being very deliberate in my care so that I'm not potentially making any more damages with my body. I think about people who really have these pains that just will never go away. It doesn't matter what it is that they do, doesn't matter who they speak to and seek. It's really just one of those things where it is a part of them. Not to mention people who have, of course, certain disabilities to go along, of course, with their chronic pain or their certain illness that they have. And they are people who do flexibility training, or of course, they do yoga or they do burlesque. They have all these wonderful things that they do on the face of, social media and their performance and those accolades, but have to have things accommodating for them based off of their level of movement, their range of being able to flow, or being able to just do those things because it helps combat the pains in those moments and such. So it's a lot that comes along with that. And it just goes back to we just want to exist in these bodies that we have here in this realm. We want to exist in a way that is flourishing and that feels beautiful and great to us. Of course, some factors that comes along with pain is, whether it is possibly age, how often you really actually utilize your body, because of course that whole, use it or lose it, this shit really is real. Not to mention if we sometimes go into regression when it comes to the use of our body from a perspective of if we are not actually, doing a set move for time to time, are we going to be losing that? Same thing when it comes down to our muscles. Are we not utilizing our hip flexors? For example, if we're not utilizing it, is it one of those things where it can become a thing where it's like, hey, we're going to go ahead and tighten up because you ain't using us type situation? Are we going to make sure that we're doing the proper understanding of our anatomy so that we'll know, okay, cool, my body is able to do this. I know it wants to do this, but it can do this. Finding those hacks, I like to call them definitely your own unique hacks when it comes to, hey, physically I'm not able to do this particular move, but let me try this one so that I'm able to still get the move, but it just has to be done a different way according to my body, according to what I'm able to tolerate. And that is definitely important too. So that I'm accomplished. I'm here. I'm able to, of course, do the things. I can check this off, and I've made that happen in spite of how I'm currently feeling right now. So that is my just when it comes to no pain, no gain. But I want to dance. And I wanted to definitely express that one because, as always, I like to be able to give some type of a story, whether I personally have gone through something that says, hey, this connects, this makes sense, or to be able to give some type of insight to the experience, whether it's mine or somebody's that I know, hey, I can be able to share this. So I think that is all I have for today. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this next episode. Be on the lookout for the next one that is coming. That one is definitely going to be a nice little treat. That's what I will say. Um, so with that being stated, thank you guys so much, of course, for being a part of this episode. I really appreciate you as always. Please look forward to any of our future episodes. And if you have not listened to the previous, please do so on Jaded and Faded Flows, YouTube, as well as we are now on Spotify. So yes, look at those too, because if you don't want to see me, you're going to hear these voices. You're going to hear the things, okay? So thank you guys so much. Again, this is Jaded and Faded Convos. I am your host, Jayla Pearl. Take it easy.